This is a story with high-speed chases, South African billionaires, celebrity doctors, dead bodies getting stolen, and Interpol. You will discover that it has more twists and turns than the Amazon, and all its anacondas. In 2012, at only 26 years of age, this young man was sentenced to life in prison plus 50 years. Oh, don't feel sorry for him. His criminal career was just starting. While in prison, he managed to become a millionaire, and lived so lavishly that you would wish to pay him a visit in his jail cell, and stay there. And that was still just the beginning. Because he then went on to pull off a prison break that is so unbelievable, it will sound like it came straight out of a novel. In his newfound freedom, he continued to live in mansions and in luxury that many only dream of, until the day his past caught up with him. This is the story of Thabo Bester, aka the Facebook rapist. Bester's criminal history began before his high-profile convictions and his unbelievable prison break. Even as a teenager, he was involved in scams, pretending to be wealthy and influential. He allegedly would adopt fake identities, pretending to be a successful businessman in the entertainment industry. His most notorious crimes involved him luring women through fake social media profiles, promising them modeling opportunities. He would then rape, assault, and rob them. However, what brought him under the spotlight was when he murdered his girlfriend, Nomfundo Tuhulu, in September 2011. Nomfundo Tuhulu, a young model, had been dating Bester. While on a trip together in Cape Town, Bester stabbed her multiple times in a hotel room. After killing her, he fled, but his movements raised suspicion. When Tuhulu's body was found, police tracked Bester's activities. He had already been on law enforcement's radar due to multiple rape and fraud cases linked to his online scams. He was arrested in Durban in 2011 and charged with murder, rape, and robbery. In 2012, Bester was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment for murder, plus an additional 50 years for rape and robbery. That brings us to Mangaung Correctional Facility, a large prison complex located in Bloemfontein, Free State, South Africa. Mangaung is the second largest private prison in the whole world. It was operated by the UK-based G4S Security under a 25-year contract that should have ended in 2025. It can house approximately 3,000 inmates and is a maximum security prison. It was opened in the early 2000s as part of a public-private partnership. However, it reeks with corruption. Reports of inmates being electroshocked and forcibly injected with antipsychotic drugs have been noted, as well as accusations of brutality, neglect, and bribery. At Mangaung, it is not uncommon for inmates to post regularly to social media platforms such as TikTok. And by post, as in trending dance challenges. As if that is not outrageous enough. It is not uncommon for their correctional officers to feature. That's because many inmates freely own phones. Therefore, when early during his sentence Bester asked for a laptop, using pursuing online education as a pretext, he was granted. You heard that right. The prison wardens decided to grant the imprisoned Facebook rapist access to an electronic device. A few years into Bester's sentence, in the year 2018, there was buzz in South Africa of a new media company. It claimed to be a subsidiary of the media giant, 21st Century, and everyone wanted to be associated with it. Some people even quit their old jobs to join this new enterprise. At the head of this company was a man called Tom Motsepe. Here is a better view of Tom. The Motsepe name in South Africa carries a lot of sway for the following reasons. Patrice Motsepe was the first ever billionaire in South Africa, with a net worth of over 2.5 billion United States dollars. His business empire includes the African Rainbow Minerals, ARM, a mining company with operations in gold, platinum, iron, and coal, of which Patrice Motsepe is founder and chief. Patrice is also a major shareholder in Sanlam, one of South Africa's largest financial services groups. And he owns the Mamelodi Sundowns, one of South Africa's most successful football clubs. Patrice Motsepe is also the incumbent president of the CAF, which stands for Confederation of African Football since 2021. Further, The Motsepe family is involved in various charities and foundations. Most importantly, the First Lady of South Africa, since Cyril Ramaphosa became president in 2018 up to date, is Chipho Motsepe, the sister to Patrice Motsepe. Therefore, when Thabo Bester used the fake identity of Tom Motsepe, it carried a lot of weight because the name represents wealth and power, making it easy to gain trust. So, Mr. Tom Motsepe over here claimed to be the managing director of this new subsidiary, and as a matter of fact, was involved in the daily runnings of the company, despite being based in New York as he claimed. And so on the 13th of June, 2018, this company had a glitzy event at the Hilton Hotel in Sandton City. Sandton is one of the wealthiest cities in the world. It is often referred to as the richest square mile in Africa, and is home to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange or JSE. This is the largest stock exchange in Africa. Many multinational corporations, banks, and investment firms are also headquartered here. Sandton is also home to Africa's current tallest building, the Leonardo. And it is in this city, at the Hilton Hotel, that the 21st Century Company hosted their event. It was an exclusive event, attended by the high class from all walks of life. Journalists, celebrities, and the big names in the media industry. And because Tom Motsepe or Bester was in New York, or prison, he only attended it virtually. Here is how it played out. As the evening progressed, and the attendants were having a good time, it was time to meet Tom Motsepe, the man behind the launch. But because he was so far away, in the New York in his head, he only attended the event virtually. And the guests did not mind at all. It made sense. In front of the audience were 3 large screens. Soon enough, a refined young man addressed the audience. He appeared in a well-furnished office setting, dressed in a dark suit with a white shirt and tie, and an 80,000 United States dollar watch on his wrist. He seemed gleeful. Perhaps he couldn't believe that he actually pulled this off. The link to the video that shows what this evening looked like is in the description below. Many people were also drawn to this event because of the credentials of this young man, who claimed to hail from a billionaire family. Apparently, he had studied at the University of Cape Town, and furthered his education at Harvard, and here he was, heading a subsidiary of the media giant, 21st Century. To the defense of the many attendants of this event, his workers, and the people he scammed, many people do not quite watch crime channels as you are doing, and so they didn't know him. So all seemed to be going well until this company started promoting another event, which they called Women in Media. It's hard to understand how he could dare to make such bold moves with such a criminal history. One would think that once you are sentenced to life in prison plus 50 years, that's it. Perhaps the real prison is the one of the mind. At any rate, with a boldness worthy of a better cause, Bester, through his fake 21st Century Company, claimed that Hollywood celebrities including Halle Berry and Taraji P. Henson would grace their next event, dubbed Women in Media. Tickets to this event were not cheap at all, but people paid up. However, when Halle Berry and Taraji got wind of what was transpiring, they clearly refuted being affiliated to this event in any way. Then the true 21st Century Company now also became aware of what was transpiring, and they sued this company and shut it down. This fake 21st Century Media Company was being headed by Thabo Bester, from his jail cell, 5 years into his prison sentence. At this point Thabo is around 30 years of age, serving a life sentence plus 50 years for 2 charges of rape, and a 3rd charge of rape and murder. This is Thabo Bester in his jail cell. He seemed to live an even more comfortable life than many innocent people do. One inmate would later describe the lavish life that Bester lived even before escaping prison. He stated that Bester never ate prison food, but would usually be found eating pizza or pork, food items that were obviously not on the prison menu. Similarly, the inmate went on to describe how Thabo had so many pairs of sneakers, even though they were only allowed to have one. It is from this jail cell that Bester addressed that audience at the Hilton Hotel, pretending he was addressing them from New York. That's how Bester got caught, scamming people from his jail cell, and what was a life sentence plus 50 years, became a life sentence plus 75 years. Oh, but this was just a temporary setback in the devious mind of Thabo. He then would go on and hatch an escape plan that is so diabolical, it's hard to believe. Over the next 4 years from 2018, he started having a special guest visit him frequently. Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. She wasn't just an ordinary doctor, no. She owned a beauty clinic, was a socialite, and was very rich and influential. Born on September 15, 1989, in Bizana, Eastern Cape, South Africa. She was raised in Port Edward, KwaZulu-Natal. After completing her primary education at Port Edward Primary School, Nandipha attended Port Shepstone High School. For her tertiary education, she completed her Bachelor of Health Sciences in Biomedical Sciences, and her Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, MBCHB, at the University of the Witwatersrand. In 2017, Dr. Nandipha founded Optimum Medical Aesthetic Solutions, a clinic in Morningside, Sandton, specialized in non-surgical cosmetic procedures. Her clinic offered services such as Botox treatments, hairline restoration, and chemical peels, aiming to provide affordable cosmetic surgery options. Her work in the medical aesthetics field earned her significant recognition. In 2018, she was featured in the Mail and Guardian's 200 Young South African list, and was also named among the SADC Top 100 Young Leaders, and the Top 20 Most Influential Young South Africans. To her credit, Dr. Nandipha's professional journey reflected a blend of medical expertise and entrepreneurial spirit, contributing to advancements in aesthetic medicine in South Africa. In 2013, she married Dr. Mkhuseli Magudumana, and the couple has 2 daughters. Although they are no longer together, official records indicate they remain legally married. So while Bester was in prison, Dr. Nandipha frequently visited him, allegedly as a romantic partner. However, something unfortunate happened. On the 3rd of May, 2022, one of the jail cells at Mangaung Correctional Facility caught fire, and sadly, an inmate inside was burnt to death. He was charred beyond recognition. The cell was Thabo Bester's cell. He was supposed dead, and Dr. Nandipha, claiming to be his customary wife, came and got his charred body. Authorities confirmed that Bester had died, and even though DNA results had not yet confirmed it, this came to be accepted. The year of 2022 quietly went by, and people seemingly forgot about the Facebook rapist. Until sightings of him started being reported. Somehow, Bester had escaped the infernal, and was living his best life. And almost a year would go by before people even considered that he was still alive. Before we talk about how he escaped and how he got caught, let's talk about what he was up to after his prison break. Once Bester was out of prison, Dr. Nandipha helped organize his post-escape life, renting luxurious homes and handling business deals under his fake identity. She went on to rent a mansion for 12 million rands in Sandton, Johannesburg, where they lived lavishly. That's equivalent to over $645,000 in January 2025. The mansion was under fake names and fraudulent rental agreements. Even after escaping, Bester couldn't stop scamming people. Some of his biggest post-escape frauds include 1. A fake millionaire persona. 2. Bester and Dr. Nandipha launched Aram Properties, a fake real estate business, claiming they were developing luxury homes. They scammed investors, collecting large deposits but never delivering any properties. Victims lost hundreds of thousands of rands. Thirdly, they designed business scams targeting celebrities. Bester attempted to host business seminars, charging high fees. He approached South African celebrities, claiming he had major international connections. Many almost fell for the scam, but some started questioning his true identity. So how did this dynamic duo get caught? In March 2023, a GroundUp investigation exposed Bester was still alive. GroundUp is a South African-based not-for-profit news agency, known for its focus on public interest stories within vulnerable communities. They felt compelled to closely scrutinize the case, especially when months went by with no updates from law enforcement on who exactly had died in Bester's cell. Their investigation blew wide open a case that had gone cold for months. Their unrelenting journalism revealed inconsistencies in the official narrative, eventually proving that Bester was alive and living in luxury. So how did GroundUp do it? 1. They started by probing further into the fire in Bester's cell. How does a fire start in an isolated cell? They asked. Did no officer see the fire? Why wasn't the fire put out? From the onset of their investigation, the case was fraught with a lot of unanswered and suspicious questions. Bester was reported to have died in a fire in his Mangaung Correctional Center cell in May 2022. However, GroundUp noted that the official reports were doubtful. They discovered that the body found in the cell was burned beyond recognition. The Department of Correctional Services initially confirmed Bester's death, but there were delays in DNA verification. Therefore, this was GroundUp's next lead. They uncovered inconsistencies in the DNA and post-mortem findings. GroundUp accessed a post-mortem report on the burnt body, which raised doubts. According to the report, the body had already died before the fire started, and the cause of death was noted to have been blunt force trauma to the head, not burns. Another very significant finding was that the corpse's height did not match Bester's recorded height. Bester from his mugshot stood at 1.7 meters, while the burnt body was at 1.5 meters. Thirdly, GroundUp began receiving tip-offs that Bester had been seen in Johannesburg, months after his supposed death. Their investigation noted reports that a man resembling Bester was living in luxury in Sandton. Social media posts also showed a man resembling Bester shopping in Sandton City. Further, GroundUp obtained and published prison CCTV footage showing suspicious activity the night of Bester's escape. On the footage, guards were seen moving in and out of Bester's cell before the fire. There was clear evidence that someone had switched bodies to stage the escape. Interestingly, a few days leading to the fire, GroundUp revealed that Bester changed cells. He moved to cell number 35, a cell that was isolated and out of shot of the CCTV. Additionally, other inmates stated that he was in high spirits in the days leading to the fire, and even spoke about going away. Finally, GroundUp connected Bester to Dr Nandipha, who was running a high-end aesthetics business. They uncovered financial transactions between the two. They also caught wind of the fact that it is Dr Nandipha that claimed the supposed burnt body of Bester, on grounds that she was his customary wife. Further, rental agreements and luxury lifestyle expenses pointed to Bester's involvement. Their investigation suggested Dr Nandipha was helping Bester evade authorities. GroundUp did such a good job that in 2023, reporters Marisha Damons and Daniel Steyn received the Nat Nakasa Award for Media Integrity and the Vodacom Journalist of the Year Award 2023. After clearly exposing that not only was Bester alive, but had escaped jail, GroundUp then went on to piece a detailed map of how the prison break was done. Remember that after Bester's cell fire, Dr Nandipha had claimed the burnt body, pretending to be his customary wife. Oh, this was part of the cover-up to make his death look legitimate. Here's what happened step by step. Step 1. Dr Nandipha fraudulently claimed a body from a government mortuary in Bloemfontein. She used fake documents and pretended to be a family member to the deceased. Reports suggest she may have claimed multiple unclaimed bodies around this time. Authorities believe she kept the body for some time before smuggling it into the prison. It is unclear where she stored it, but it was likely in a morgue or a private location. The body was somehow smuggled into Mangaung Correctional Center, where Thabo Bester was imprisoned. On May 3, 2022, the body was placed inside Bester's prison cell. It was then set on fire to make it seem as though Bester had died in a fire accident. Step 2. The role of the prison officials. While the fire was raging, Bester walked out of prison, disguised as a prison warden. He was reportedly escorted out by corrupt prison officials, bypassing security. A few days before the incident, Thabo had requested to be moved to a more isolated cell, which he was granted. Cell 35. This cell was not in full range of the in-house security system. Surveillance footage later revealed that Bester was seen walking out of prison on the night of the fire. Some prison officials were allegedly bribed to look the other way, while others helped him directly. Security cameras were tampered with, and official records were falsified. Step 3. Meeting Dr. Nandipha and fleeing. CCTV footage later showed Dr. Nandipha picking up Bester near the prison shortly after his escape. The two went into hiding, living in luxury and under fake identities. It is without a doubt that he had a lot of help within the prison system and outside. One of the very key people in Bester's escape is Thabo Bester, a technician employed by Integritron Integrated Solutions, a company subcontracted by G4S to maintain the prison's CCTV systems. On the night of Bester's escape, the CCTV cameras in the section where Bester was held were deliberately disabled. This manipulation created a significant time gap in the surveillance footage, spanning from 7:38 p.m. to 4:11 a.m., during which the escape occurred. According to the charge sheet, Leopoldo was offered a substantial bribe of 2.5 million rands or $135,000 to compromise the CCTV system. However, he allegedly only received an initial payment of 40,000 rands or $2,168 for his involvement. Following his arrest, Leopoldo reportedly confessed to his role in the escape and identified other accomplices involved in the scheme. Other prison officials who allegedly played significant roles in the operation include Sinohe Ishmael Matsora, a former G4S prison warder. Matsora was responsible for overseeing prison operations. Investigations revealed that Matsora received multiple payments from Bester and Dr. Nandipha, totaling between 8,000 rands and 485,000 rands, through his girlfriend's bank account. That is equivalent to between $430 and $26,000. These funds were allegedly used to bribe colleagues to aid in the escape. On the 29th of April, 2022, Matsora allegedly smuggled a body into the prison, concealing it in a television cabinet. He facilitated the placement of the body in Bester's cell to stage a fire, creating a diversion for the escape. Following the escape, Matsora was arrested and charged with aiding and abetting the escape, corruption, and other related offenses. He was denied bail and remains in custody pending trial. Another former G4S security guard by the name of Motanyane John Butith Masukela, a 51-year-old, was arrested in April 2023 in connection with Thabo Bester's escape from the Mangaung Correctional Center. He was arrested because of the following. On the 29th of April, 2022, Sinohe Matsora arrived at the prison's Sally Port entrance, which was under Masukela's supervision that day. Matsora's vehicle, lacking the required gate pass, carried a television cabinet concealing a bag with a deceased body. Masukela allegedly failed to search the vehicle and assisted Matsora in offloading the body into a workshop. The body was later transported to the Broadway section, where Bester was incarcerated, and used as a decoy in his escape plan. Masukela faces charges related to aiding Bester's escape and has been remanded in custody. Additionally, Tieho Franz Makotsa, who was a G4S control room operator at Mangaung Correctional Center, is also among those accused of aiding Thabo Bester's escape in May 2022. He faces charges related to assisting an inmate's escape from lawful custody. In May 2023, Makotsa, along with co-accused Sinohe Matsora, Motanyane Masukela, and Thabo Bester, was denied bail by the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Makotsa's family maintains his innocence, asserting that he was merely performing his duties as a control room operator and had no involvement in the escape plan. The next one is Joel Maketa, whose position was that of security supervisor at the prison. His alleged role is related to the violation of a body, aiding an inmate's escape, and corruption. Maketa is believed to have been involved in smuggling the body into Bester's cell to stage the fake death. He was granted bail. On July 11, 2023, the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court set his bail at 10,000 rands or $540 as of February 2025. The following were the bail conditions. He must report to the Bloemsprout police station every Monday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. He is prohibited from contacting any state witnesses. He must inform the investigating officer if he intends to leave Bloemfontein. Additionally, Maketa surrendered his passport to the authorities. Other G4S prison officials that were initially charged but whose charges were later dropped include Nastasia Jansen, Tabang Mia, and Moketsi Ramalula. In addition to the previously mentioned individuals, another key figure implicated in Thabo Bester's escape from Mangaung Correctional Center is Xander Moyo, a 31-year-old Zimbabwean national. He is alleged to have played a significant role in Thabo Bester's escape from the Mangaung Correctional Center in May 2022. According to reports, Moyo, allegedly under the instruction of Dr Nandipha, is the one who collected the body under false pretenses from the National Hospital in Bloemfontein, claiming it was his brother, Themba Ndlovu, a taxi driver born in Zimbabwe. Further investigations revealed that Moyo initially worked at Dr Nandipha Magudumana's aesthetics clinic as a nail technician and later became her driver. He resided with Dr Nandipha and Bester in their luxury mansion. It's alleged that Moyo assisted Dr Nandipha in claiming bodies from morgues, one of which was used as a decoy in Bester's escape. Moyo faces charges including violating a body, fraud, and harboring and concealing an escaped convict. He appeared in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court in June 2023 and is set to join his co-accused in the ongoing trial in July 2025. In March 2023, the news report by GroundUp exposed that Bester was still alive. As the investigation intensified, Bester and Dr Nandipha fled South Africa with fake documents. They drove to Zimbabwe, then crossed into Zambia before heading to Tanzania. They were believed to be heading to Kenya to disappear. On April 7, 2023, Tanzanian authorities, working with Interpol and South African police, tracked the couple to Arusha, near the Kenya-Tanzania border. They were arrested along with a Mozambican national, Sifiso Mbuyazi, who was allegedly helping them escape. They were found with multiple passports, all carrying fake names, trying to cross into Kenya. Reports say they were staying in a luxury hotel and had large amounts of cash. After their arrest, Tanzania deported them back to South Africa under heavy security. They arrived at Lanseria Airport in Johannesburg, where they were immediately taken into custody. Bester was sent to Kosi Mampuru Prison, a high-security facility, and Dr Nandipha was arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including aiding an escape, corpse violation, and fraud. This brings us to a very important question. Who was the man whose body was unfortunately used as a decoy? Katlego Bereng. He was a 31-year-old South African, reported missing by his family in April 2022. Details surrounding his disappearance remain unclear, and his family struggled to find answers during the period he was missing. However, they actively searched for him after his disappearance. They even reported him missing to the police. During their search, they visited local hospitals in Bloemfontein, including Pelenomi Hospital, in hopes of finding him. However, their efforts were unsuccessful, and they were unable to locate him during that period. In the community, Bereng was described as a friendly and sociable individual. He had connections with various people in his neighborhood. Interestingly, this includes Sinohe Matsora, the former G4S employee implicated in Bester's escape. Both Bereng and Matsora frequented a local tavern near their homes, suggesting they were acquaintances. It was only later that the family discovered that his body had been used as a decoy in Thabo Bester's prison escape. They have been devastated over the situation and are seeking answers regarding how Bereng's body ended up in the prison. They have indicated plans to sue the state, questioning the circumstances that led to their son's body being used in the escape plot. Katlego Bereng was laid to rest in Bloemfontein's South Park Cemetery on May 7, 2023. The funeral was attended by family, friends, and community members who gathered to pay their respects and seek closure after the tragic events. He was a father to 2 young children. At the time of his passing, his children were aged 5 and 3. As of February 10, 2025, the trial of Thabo Bester, Dr Nandipha Magudumana, and their co-accused has been postponed to July 21, 2025, due to unresolved legal matters. The key developments so far include the following. Thabo Bester experiencing multiple changes in his legal representation. Several of his legal teams have withdrawn from his case for various reasons. In June 2023, advocate Jeremiah Pella and attorney Tsarela Zindao recused themselves from representing Bester. The specific reasons for their withdrawal were not publicly detailed. In July 2024, Attorney Mohammed Seethat withdrew from Bester's case, citing difficulties in accessing Bester regularly, which impeded effective legal consultation. Similarly, the defense lawyer for co-accused Sinohe Motsara and Tieho France Makotsa also recused themselves due to unpaid legal fees in July 2024. Following this, both co-accused sought representation from legal aid. These withdrawals have contributed to delays in the trial proceedings. As of February 2025, the trial has been postponed to July 21, 2025, due to unresolved legal matters and issues related to legal representation. Interestingly, Thabo Bester has chosen to represent himself in court proceedings. In September 2024, he appeared before the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria without legal representation, seeking access to a laptop and internet modem to prepare for his defense. Bester argued that these tools were essential for him to adequately prepare his case, emphasizing his constitutional right to a fair trial. However, the court denied his application, citing security concerns and the potential risks associated with granting him electronic access. During the hearing, Bester expressed frustration with his detention conditions, stating, "I am not able to represent myself," while having a lack of legal resources. He also highlighted the challenges he faced in accessing necessary legal materials and resources to mount an effective defense. Further, Bester stated that the conditions in which he is being kept are too harsh. He went on to mention that if nothing will be done about his jail conditions, the court should as well just grant him death penalty, so that they can quickly get done with everything. The audacity with which he addresses the court is almost disrespectful to all his victims, and he does not seem remorseful. Dr Nandipha Magudumana has also challenged the jurisdiction of the South African courts to prosecute her, claiming she was abducted from Tanzania. However, the court has not been swayed by her defense arguments. Further, the trial involves several co-accused individuals, including G4S employees and other associates implicated in the escape and related activities. Details about their specific roles and charges are still emerging as the legal proceedings continue. So what should we expect next? The trial is now scheduled to commence on July 21, 2025. The court will address the outstanding legal issues, including Bester's detention conditions and Dr. Nandipha's jurisdictional challenge. The outcomes of these proceedings will determine the course of the trial and the potential for further delays. May true justice be served for all the women that Thabo Bester raped, for Nomfundo Tuhulu whom he murdered, for all the people, businesses, and investors that he scammed, and finally, for Katlego Bereng.